संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। दुर्जनः सज्जनो भूयात् सज्जनः शान्तिमाप्नुयात् शान्तो मुच्येत बन्देभ्यो मुक्तान् अन्यान् विमोचयेत्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। हरिः ॐ। So last time we discussed about mind and its nature, and I said that in order to control our mind, in order to use the mind in our meditation, we should know about its nature. If you know the nature of the mind, it is very easy to control the mind. So that is why last class we discussed about mind and its nature. So I said that mind is very tricky and cunning and it is always restless, and that is why Arjuna asked Lord Krishna, Chanchalam hi manakrishna pramadi balavadhrudam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. And he asked that mind is chanchalam, it is restless, and not only restless, it is pramadi and very dangerous, and balavat and dhrudam. And he also said that tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Nigraha means control. So controlling the mind is nothing but holding air in the fist, he said. Then Krishna, in reply to his question, says that asamshayam hi mano mahobaho mano nigrahanchalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyanti grishyate. So no doubt what you said is correct, there is no doubt at all, but we can control. How? With abhyasa and vairagya, he said. So there is no question of impossible. There is a possibility, but there are certain conditions are there. And meditation is the direct way to control the mind. And in another occasion, Swami Vivekananda says, and he also said that mind is compared to a monkey. Naturally, monkey is restless, always, unrest. It never sits idle. It goes from here, there, jump from one branch to another branch. Turbulent it is in nature. And that monkey stung by a scorpion, and see the situation of that monkey. And in addition to that, it was drunk by wine, and see the hopeless condition of that monkey. And moreover, a demon entered into that monkey. Yes. Monkey itself is restless, and all these things happen to that, and see the situation of that mind. So it is more and more restless. So in the same way, Swami Vivekananda says that the human mind is like that monkey, incessantly active by its own nature. Then it becomes drunk with the wine of desire, thus increasing its turbulence. After desire takes possession comes the sting of the scorpion of jealousy at the success of others. And last of all, the demon of pride enters the mind, making it think itself of all importance. How hard to control such a mind. See, this is about the mind. But there is no other way to lead a happy life, a worthy life, a holistic life, a fruitful life. We have to, or we ought to, control this mind. Then our life is so happy. Other day I said happiness is the state of mind. If mind is in our control, if you achieve that state of mind, and we will be very happy, we lead a happy life. So today, let us know more about this meditation. So all these days, we discussed that meditation is a science. And also, I said that to control the mind, or we have to do meditation. And also, I said that we have innate abilities, inborn tendencies. So, to manifest the divinity, we have to meditate. It means without our effort, we never get anything. That is the secret of nature. So, what is that effort? That is meditation. And second, in meditation is nothing but, I said, it is an experimentation. Our ancestors did that in intuition, with intuition power, they revealed this secret that man possesses everything. And he is the source of happiness, a bliss, ever-ending happiness, and he is Satchitananda, his nature. So, how can we prove it? So, for that we have to do experiment. And that experiment is nothing but meditation. And what is the equipment in that experimentation? I said mind. So, with mind we have to do meditation. And just now I have said about the nature of the mind. So, unless and until you know the nature of this mind, you cannot control the mind. So, that is why in last talk I said about mind and its nature. And today, let us know more about this meditation. So, meditation comes under Raja Yoga, and I said Ashtanga Yoga it is called. Ashtanga. What are they? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, and Samadhi. So, seventh is the seventh step. So, to succeed in meditation, we have to fulfill the remaining conditions. What are they? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, and Pratyahara. Otherwise, it is not easy to control the mind. Because meditation is nothing, meditation, it doesn't mean simply closing eyes. Yes, Ranganathan Maharaj says that when you do meditation, something big is going to happen, he says. Something big is going to happen. So for that, we have to know about these Yama, Niyama and Asana. They are nothing but prerequisites or preconditions. If I give an example, you can understand easily. So when a bike is produced by an industry, when they launch in open market, before launching the open market, they check 3-4 times, they check quality controls, and finally they put a mark, yes, checked and okay. And they says that about that vehicle. So this newly launched vehicle, it gives the mileage 80 kilometers per liter, and that is true. But they mention one star mark there. So 80 kilometers per liter this new model gives, and one star mark they gives, and there they write conditions apply. So where they give that condition? In the bottom, the star mark again they give, again they mention the conditions. And what are the conditions, to get that mileage? First, the carrying capacity, how much load you are carrying. Second, the oil, yes, we have to maintain that. Next, usage of brake and gears, usage of gear, and air pressure in front wheel and rear wheel. And finally they said the road conditions. Yes. So comprising of all this is the primary condition to get that mileage. If all these conditions are not good, yes, then what happens? You won't get the result. So giving the mileage is correct, but what we have to, in order to get that mileage, and another thing they said, the speed also they said, how much speed you have to maintain. Yes. So giving the mileage is correct, true, but to get that mileage, we have to fulfill all these conditions. In the same way, to reveal our innate abilities, to come out that our innate abilities, the divine spark that is there in our soul, and to manifest that divinity, we have to control, or we have to fulfill certain prerequisites. So they are nothing but these yama, niyama and asana. So let us know one by one. First, yama. So yama means, it comprises ahimsa, asteya, aparigraha. These are all comes under yama. Ahimsa, asteya, aparigraha, and truthfulness. These are all comes under yama. Okay. Let us think in detail. First, ahimsa. The meaning itself is telling that himsa and ahimsa. This is in 3 stages: manasa, vacha, karmana, non-violence we call. And what is the relation between this ahimsa and meditation and control of the mind? So when there is a violence, I give from gross example to subtle. Say for example, we want to eat a delicious food, and preferably some non-vegetarians, they think about animal. So to get that flesh of that animal, and there is a himsa, yes, violence is there. So at the time of killing that animal, and see the tragedy of that animal, how restless it is, how fearful it is. And think about the death agony we call before going to death. Blood ooze out and so much of pain and so many thoughts comes to that animal's mind. So when you eat that type of food, you have the impact of that mind. You have impact of that on our mind. Or simply you say vacha, you hurt a person with your words, with a what you call a hurting way. If you talk to him, then what happens? That person, he repent on that, he become annoyed and more thoughts comes to his mind, he become so unhappy, so many thoughts comes to his mind against you. So they become a vibrations, and you have that impact on you. That is why when you sit silently, after some time, your conscience says that you would have not scolded like that, you would have not told like that. So that from inner voice tells, yes, you would have not answered in such a way. So that is nothing but it has an impact on you when you hurt somebody with words. Yes, it means you also become restless. You have experience. Sometimes, for example, out of angry, we talk against our elders or officers or somebody. That moment we are not aware of our words, what type of words we are uttering. But after some time, when you sit quietly, when you think of that, then you feel sorry for that. Yes or no? And your mind to some extent become restless. So that is why to succeed in meditation, we have to free from this. We should be very careful while uttering our voice, our words. Then this manasa also, even by thinking of bad of others, negative of others, and that also not good. It also has same impact on you. That's why Swamiji says that even if you are in a cave, but if you send negative thoughts, if you think negative of somebody, and these thought vibrations, they spread in the nature, or one day or other day, they come back to you with the compound interest, he says. And that is why we are not supposed to do this. So, ahimsa is needed. Yes, we have to avoid himsa, violence. We have to follow ahimsa. Then, aparigraha. Parigraha means receiving gift. Aparigraha means we are not supposed to receive gift from others freely. And you may think, now what is the impact of that on the mind? So when you receive gift from others, then you lose your entity. From whom you take that, and when you take that, you have habituated to take gift from others freely or readily available. Then what happens? You lose your entity, and you have to obey others, those who give gift to us, you, and if they ask you to do some work, and you have to obey for them. Yes or no? That is why you see the officers, those who are strong, whatever may be their level, or mandal level or district level or state level officers, if they are straightforward, if they won't take bribery from others, if they are not corrupted, So they are very strong enough. Yes, they won't listen their higher officers also, even politicians also. The reason behind it is they become so strong. If you take that, then what happens? Or one day or other day, you have to follow, you have to obey them against your will and wish. If that is good on, it is okay. But the person who gave something to you freely and readily, then what happens? Though you are not willing to do certain activities, then you have to follow them. Then you become more restless. It has impact on your mind. So that is why aparigraha. Ranganatha Maharaj gives one example for this. One officer, he directed to inspect one industry. The government came to know that, so they are doing something wrong. They are against some policies. Yes. So that officer now appointed. Now he has to come to all the way from Hyderabad to visit that place. So the industrialist, he came to know. He himself arranged vehicle to that officer. And when he reached that place, he booked a lodge and he arranged the delicious food what that officer likes. Yes. Now he accepted, that officer accepted all these things. Then see what happens. When he starts inquiring and he is not wholehearted. Yes. He did the work peripherally. The reason behind it is he lost his entity because he received gift from him. Yes. And he gave some money also. Then you see, he is not that much strict. Yes. But the person who is strong enough, he is not accepting everything. So I have to render my services. It is my duty. So I appointed for that, to check all the degrading activities which cause problem to the society. So then you see, he is strong enough. The person who receives and think the gift and other things, then what happened? What about his his mind? All negative thoughts, vibrations, and he is somewhat restless. He is not that much happy. Yes. And in mind, one way or other way, he think that I may be pointed out by somebody. Yes. So in conscience says that you are not doing your duty properly. You are against these policies. You are not doing your services properly. So that mind, that conscience tells him. So he is not happy for that. So with that, if you do meditation, there is no meaning. Yes. The mind, just now I said, no, it is so restless. It is cunning in nature. Yes. If you do all these activities, yes, with violence or if receiving these gifts from others, then mind becomes more restless. So it is not easy to control that mind. So there is no meaning of doing meditation. You won't succeed. So that is why aparigraha. And you may ask some question. And what about this ashramas? But they are receiving donation. That question rises. But here the answer is, the money, whatever they receive, they use for the benefit of the visitors, the persons, the devotees or the followers who come to that mart. They enjoy the benefits. It means if you give donation, say they construct a meditation hall and with all comforts, with cushion and where you can sit comfortably, and with all scientific gadgets, and chairs and fans, you know. So who is getting the benefit? Yes, the giver. You are giving, and in turn they are using that for not for their betterment. It is for the betterment of the whole society. So whatever you give, that you take back in another way. You are giving in the form of money, but in turn you are getting in the form of what? The comforts, the spiritual help, spiritual guidance. Yes or no? So then it is not aparigraha, because they are not receiving for their betterment. They are using against for the whole society. They use that money for service activities. Yes, Ramakrishna Math, if you think, so many activities are there for downtrodden people. Some lakhs of people getting the benefit. So even single pie also not misused. It goes to the poor people, downtrodden people. Yes, that is not comes under aparigraha. If you take in such a way, then what happens? Nothing. The mind is, you become more pure by receiving that money in such a way and using that money for the betterment of the society or for the seekers, for the followers. Then what happens? Your mind become more pure again, and it helps in meditation. But in other way, for your own betterment, if you use that money for your own comforts, for your own enjoyment, then what? It has impact on your mind, and you cannot concentrate properly. And if you do meditation, then it is not result oriented. It is waste of time. Clear? So then, asteya. Asteya means non-stealing. Of course, it may not be applied to all the listeners, all persons. Non-stealing is non-thefting, otherwise we can say. So this question may not come to our mind, but if you think deeply, in other way we have to understand. In this context, say for example, I give that negative example first, then aparigraha positive example. Sorry, asteya, non-stealing. So in stealing, what happens when, for example, one material was thefted? Say a person, he accumulated some amount of money after hard work of some years, then he purchased an item, yes, a gold item or like that, an ornament, a worth of 1 lakh rupee. So when it was thefted, it took some hours only. Some hours, the thief, he takes away. So this person, in order to stretch that, in order to get that, in order to fetch that, he worked hard for 1 year, 2 years or 3 years, then he accumulated. But in no time, took away by the thief. And see the tragedy. See the aversions of that person, mental aversions. He become more restless, yes, unhappy, annoyed, yes, he weeps like anything, yes, and see that vibrations was created, negative vibrations, yes, and he always think about that gold again and again. He thinks about how he accumulated that amount, how much hard work he did to get that. Yes, so in no time I lost that. So he is become more restless. Say for example, the person who thefted, then you see that his condition, he is not happy, he is not joyful. So when a person stared at him, then he become more restless. Yes, or he happened to see by chance a police coming. Not he doesn't know about you, but just on the way he is going. So by seeing him, what happens? He become more restless. Yes or no? The reason behind it is he has the impact, his mind become more restless because the person who lost that, yes, and see his condition. So that impact is there on his mind. Clear? But as a sadhaka, we have to think in other way. Yes, we never take away the material from others, we never do that. But we have to understand in another way. That is, don't take any item without the permission of somebody. Yes, here in our life, a costly item or a good item is there, and we think that so he is our own friend or our own relative, yes, or our own kith and kin, yes, then our own family member, and sometimes what it is without his notice, then we think that yes, we use it, he is not there, and afterwards we keep there, yes, no need to inform him, we think, yes. Then what happens? The person again, when he tries to find out that, then same thing happens. No, it is like he thinks that it was thefted. Then in his mind he also becomes more restless, annoyed. Yes. So that effect also there on your mind. And another example I say is that don't take a costly item or any good item from others. Say for example, a car is there, he purchased, newly purchased, and we have to go to a village, nook and corner village, and preferably our mind says that yes, our relative is there, our friend is there, so let me ask, yes, I may use that, I can use that, and you ask, but he may not be ready to give, but being a friend or relative, yes, then he says that yes, you can, but inside he is not 100%, yes, ready to give, yes, mentally not that, but somehow he gives, yes, and that is a new car, yes. And it takes nearly one day, let us think, yes, journey to and fro, but you think about the owner who gives that car, as he thinks that it is newly car, the driver owner is not there now, so he may not drive properly when the road is not with ridges and grooves, yes, and they are going to, in rushy area, they may get maybe scratched, yes, he may get some scratches. So he thinks like that, he is not happy and he becomes restless, yes, till the car comes back, and think about his mental condition or aversions of the mind, yes. So the person who using that car, and he also won't, yes, enjoy, yes, while traveling he also becomes somewhat restless. Say for example, it is his own car is going and he is so calm and quiet, but he has taken his friend's or relative car, and in his mind also there is a pinching, something may happen, yes, so that negative thoughts comes to him. So that is why our ancestors said that we have to avoid as far as possible, just to get the result in meditation, otherwise there is no use. So you want to do meditation, you want to get the result, you want to bring out your innate abilities, you want to manifest the divinity that is within you, for that you have to follow these things. Just I gave example now. If you want to get the mileage 80 kilometers per liter, you follow all this. You don't want, Yes, you go as you like. You won't get the result. Clear? Accident may occur. There is a possibility of that also. Here, we want to lead a joyful life, a happy life. So, free from all these tensions, restlessness, we have to follow these prerequisites. So, ahimsa, asteya, aparigraha. Then, even let's say brahmacharya. So, brahmacharya means your mind is always cling to the higher thoughts, the noble thoughts related to this higher life, a spiritual life, a superior life. So, when you try to lead a good life, when you try to reach the ultimate goal, then your mind always should think of those ways and means to reach that goal. This is called brahmacharya in modern language. Yes, it is for all. Yes, in depth I am not going to say. So I am telling peripherally. So even for grihastha point of view I am telling. So brahmacharya. So always you whatever you do, whatever that you did, action that you, the deeds that you do, manasa vacha karmana, and always that is related to your ultimate goal. Yes, no, you should not do against that goal, the ultimate goal. Say, if you want to control your mind, so you have to think in such a way, you have to act in such a way that the mind should not have impact of that activities. That is called brahmacharya. So always cling your mind to the higher thoughts or noble deeds. This is called brahmacharya. Then niyama. In niyama, the simplest way we can say, you have to have faith or surrender to God. You have to surrender God. Then what happens? Your life become so comfortable. It means in order to get the result in meditation, yes, in order to get the result in meditation, I said these are the conditions we have to follow. So yama and niyama. So simple way we can say, we should have faith in God, and we have to surrender God. Then what happens? When there is a surrender, when you think that a higher power is controlling me or guiding me, so when this go together, your efforts, Purusha Prayatna and God's grace, when they go together, and you will get more benefit. So your mind become more calm and calm. Yes. This yama, this niyama, some more subtle points I try to tell in next talks. Then asana comes. So here this Ashtanga Yoga, it says that sthira sukham asanam. So in order to succeed in meditation, we should have asana siddhi. Asana means sitting in a comfortable posture. We have to sit in such a way that our body should not get disturbed. We should sit more comfortably without any problem, because we are in meditation, we are going beyond the body mind complex. If mind is not comfortable, paining, then what happens? Your mind always think of this body and the pain. So there is no meditation. So your meditation is on this body only. It is not correct. So then what further, you have to select a posture on asana so that you can sit sthira and sukham and comfortable. Sthira means without moving. So any posture you can set. You can select this Padmasana, Ardha Padmasana, or Sukhasana, or Vajrasana. Why it is so means, in Bhagavad Gita Lord Krishna says that how to sit. Samankaya Shirogrevam Dharayam Achalam Stiraha Sampreksha Nasikagram Swam Dishashchana Avalokanam. So how to sit? In Dhyana Yoga, Lord Krishna says that Samankaya Shirogrevam. So this kaya, this body, this shira, so should be straight. Dharayam Achalam. It means there should not be any movement while doing meditation. You have to sit in such a way. Achalam Sthiraha. So constantly you have to sit. Constantly you have to sit. Achalam Sthiraha. Sampreksha Nasikagram. Swa Dishashchana Avalokanam. You should not see here and there. Yes. You have to sit in constantly. That is why that is called asana. So, for example, you want to do meditation for 20 minutes at a stretch. So 20 minutes you have to sit erectly, without movement, and so comfortably you have to sit. Then only you do meditation in proper way. Then you can get the result. You can think higher objects that we discuss later. So that is why here in Patanjali says Sthira Sukham Asana. Just only one asanam you have to sit. So you want to do meditation means either you sit in Padmasanam or Sukhasanam or Ardha Padmasanam or Vajrasanam. Some people, they may not sit on the floor. Then what you have to do? You can sit on a chair where you can sit straightly. If you want to need support, if you need, your body is not supporting, your health is not good enough to sit on the floor. So you can select a chair in such a way that the back should be straight. So you can take support. It makes no difference. So here, Sthira Sukham Asana. And asanalu we have heard about that. In yoga, we heard about different asanas. Mayurasana, yes, or Kukutasana. So like that, so number of asanas are there. For particular problem, we follow this. So they comes under Hatha Yoga. So we have different types of asanas. Mayura asana, Bhujanga asana, so like that. So these are all not comes under this Raja Yoga. They are not directly useful to this meditation. So meditation means you have to sit erectly. Samankaya Shirogrivam Dharayam Achalam Stiraha. Constantly you have to sit. So for that, you have to select only one asana, comfortable. Yes, that different asanas, they comes under Hatha Yoga. They are related to our health. Health problem is there, you have to do that particular particular asana to get rid of that problem. But here, as far as meditation is concerned, and these different asanas are nowhere concerned. Yes, so here that asana siddhi. For that, what is asana siddhi? Minimum 10 to 15 minutes, you should sit erectly without moving, so comfortably. So for that, you have to select a particular asana that whatever is you comfortable to you. That depends on you. You can select of your own. And where to sit means it should be a cushion. It should not be hard. So if it is hard, so again there is a pinching. After 2 minutes or 3 minutes, a pain comes. So again our mind goes there. Always think of that. Yes, so to avoid that, what happens? There is what a blanket, or nowadays in the market we are getting some asanas, if you ask, some cushioned, so comfortable that. So select that anyone. If you have any unused, a new blanket, you can use that. Yes, or any cushioned item that can be used, so that you can sit comfortably. That so that your asana siddhi comes. Yes, you have to practice for some days, and then nowadays there is no choice to sit on the floor. So wherever you go, chairs. At home also, sofa, chairs. Even while eating, yes, there is no scope, dining table. So we always prefer to sit on chair or sofa or like that. So those who want to do meditation, I suggest that daily, at least half an hour to 1 hour, you make a practice to sit on the floor. Apart from meditation time, general leisure time. So whenever time permits, and make it possible to sit on the floor. Yes, so that it is easy for you to sit comfortably while doing meditation. Clear? So yama. So niyama, I said only one point I said. The remaining in next classes I reveal it in detail. Then asana. Clear? This is asana. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, where to sit? Natruchitam natinicham chelajana kusottaram. He said, we should not sit ucha means the height place. So height place. A big what you call table like thing. But the reason is, in the beginning you will get some drowsiness. Yes, if there is a drowsiness, there is a possibility to fall down. So natruchitam, natinicham. It means it should not be some ridge, so that you become so slopey. Yes, and we have to sit in such a way that there should not be any disturbances. Yes, and free from some insects and other things, so it can disturb you. So in the beginning, we have to choose such a place where there is no disturbance. Yes. Then Kushottara, he said, Chailajana Kushottara. So there should be some Kusha. He said that Kusha means Kushagra Buddhi. Kusha Asana we call. In market they are available. Yes, Kushasana we call. Darbasana. Yes, market it is available. On that you can use any what you call a cushioned blanket or something, is a sheet of cloth. So this is called asana. Next, pranayama. So there is a relation between this pranayama and controlling of the mind. When you are restless, when you are emotionally disturbed, and observe this pranayama, inhaling and exhaling. So it is, you get the inhaling, exhaling is more and more. When there is an argument, or when what you call you are restless, then just if you think of this breathing, inhaling and exhaling, so it is not balanced. Per minute it is more and more. On average it is 15 to 20 per minute, but it goes to 30, 40 like that. Yes, when you are emotionally disturbed. So you argue with somebody, then you see your breathing level. So it is so restless. Yes. And there is a relation between this breath and this inspiration, expiration and calmness of the mind. And there is the lifespan also related to this. If you think of certain animals, say a dog, so breathing is more per minute compared to man. And that is why it is more restless. Even if it is in resting condition also, you can observe that animal It take inhaling, exhaling with mouth, and by opening his tongue, you see the body. If you observe, you see inhaling and exhaling. You can see that sensation. It is more restless. And if you think of rabbit, it is more the breathing level. So then what happens? It is more restless. Clear? So before doing meditation, we have to do pranayama. So pranayama in meditation point of view means there is the count level of inhaling and exhaling should be equal. The count level of inhaling and exhaling should be same, so that we are so calm and quiet. So calm mind means the mind aversions are very less. Mind aversions are not there means the mind is calm. The mind is calm means the inhaling and exhaling are balanced. Yes. So in pranayama, what we do, artificially we have to do in the beginning, but in the process of meditation, the pranayama becomes natural. The inhaling and exhaling become less and less and less and less per minute, and it slow down. As it slow down, and your restlessness also decreases. So the more restless, the inhaling and exhaling are more. There is no balance. So to balance that, before doing meditation, we have to do pranayama. Yes. And I tell more about this pranayama and niyama in next period. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, sarvam Sri Rama Krishna arpanamastu.